Hello, Scorpio, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of June 1st through June 7th. And during that time, we will have a first quarter moon that comes in on the 4th. And, first quarter can be a time when we feel impulsive, impatient. Our minds can be very active. It just can be a time to feel very frustrated and just your mind's just so active, hard to settle down. We do then move into the waxing gibbous energy, which is definitely a lot calmer. It's a time for you to just kind of have a deeper, better understanding. You can act on your intuition and introspection. So keep that first quarter day in mind as you're moving through your week and try to get through that day. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter, Scorpio. So, of course, please keep that in mind and take what resonates and leave what doesn't for someone else. All right, your overall message card, the end of a tough cycle approaches. I've seen that card in a couple of the readings for this week. So you're not the only one. It looks like kind of turning a new leaf for some of us. So that's a good thing. And Scorpio, as I am shuffling the tarot cards, I would like to say that since my readings are free to you, all that I ask in return is that you hit that subscribe button. If you like the reading, also hit the like button as well. That just helps with the algorithm for my channel. And of course, I appreciate that. And it's super easy for you to do. So I will give you just a minute while I'm shuffling for you to do that. Thank you so much. And if you've been a subscriber, thank you for coming back and helping me build a community here. I see you and I appreciate you. So thank you so much. All right, let's get these cards shuffled. And as I'm shuffling here, I would like to say that my weekly message this week is to take time to meditate today. Maybe not, just today, but every day. Just go within, still yourself, quiet your mind, and take time to explore. If this is something that you already do, then you know what I'm talking about. If meditation is not something that you practice, it's just a really good time to start. Even if it's just a few minutes, try to start working that into your daily routine. And if if you feel like you are frustrated on that first quarter day on the 4th, that might be a good time. Just, take 5 or 10 minutes for yourself and take a deep, close your eyes, get in a comfortable spot, take some nice deep breaths, just do some deep breathing. It might help you calm down a little bit. So please keep that in mind. All right, let's get right to it. Scorpio, June 1st through 7th. We've got some cards. Now that's a little bit of a big chunk coming out of there. We are not going to take those. The end of a tough cycle approaches. All right. Overall energy, the Hermit. So, this may be a good time for you to go within, do some meditating. That's exactly what the Hermit is all about. It's about kind of, taking a little bit of time to block out the outside world. This is about going in, seeking your inner wisdom, doing some inner searching, kind of sorting out things that you've been through in your past and thinking about where you might want to go in your future. The Hermit isn't thinking too far in the future, just maybe the next step here. This light isn't lighting an entire path, just maybe the next step that the Hermit is taking. So, this might be a good time at the end of a tough cycle that you're kind of in that evaluation mode and thinking about, where do I want to go next? And the Hermit kind of helps you with that. Your current situation is the Three of Pentacles. So I've seen this card quite a bit in the series of readings this week. So I feel like, like I said, there's been a few different signs that are going through the end of a tough cycle, but also I've seen quite a bit of collaboration. So, anytime I see that, especially if this card has come out in a lot of readings, it's just interesting for me to see the overall that this collaboration is happening between different signs and on different areas. So just be open this week, even though you're going within and really kind of in hermit mode, to not completely close everybody out. There are probably some people out there that are very close and trusted, friends, family that are close to you, that you might want to take their call, answer their text, kind of let them in, do a little bit of collaboration with them on at least letting them know that you're okay and things are good, right? And they might need you to check in with them too. So at the root of your situation is the Devil card. So you might be in a place where you're kind of fighting off some false truths. This could be, in this case, this could be something where you're fighting off some sort of The devil can be about an addiction. And it doesn't necessarily have to be to like drugs or alcohol, that sort of thing, even though of course they can be. And if you're coming out of a tough cycle where you've been battling that, I do wish you the best of luck with that, and keep at it. You're doing an awesome job. But if it's the root of that, if the root of your situation is the devil, dependency can be not just dependency to, like I said, drugs and alcohol, but maybe to people sometimes, and to situations, and like getting yourself into situations, getting yourself into, kind of dramatic situations, opening the door for some sort of drama. That can be something somewhat of an addiction. I'm somehow being led to say that for some of you that is going to resonate. So, but this is also, the devil is a card of kind of, being closed minded. These are self doubts. I always think of that devil on your shoulder that's kind of whispering in your ear that, no, you can't do that thing, kind of, getting into your subconscious there when it comes to your confidence and that sort of thing. So, at the root of your problem is the devil is at the root of you wanting to go within. And of course, if you're at the end of a tough cycle, you are making those evaluations. Just make sure those are clear evaluations and not, something that the devil's kind of bringing up for you. Okay, in your recent past is the King of Cups. So it looks like you're coming into this entire situation with a really good knowledge of not only your emotions and the way you react and do things and deal with your emotions, but also the emotions of people in your kingdom. So this is that you understand the emotions of, your friends and family, those people around you. This could even be coworkers, just the people that are around you. You're really good at just kind of understanding those sorts of impulses and those emotional reactions of the people around you. You understand them and you see them, and that's not a bad place to come into. What's on your mind this week is, yeah, we're thinking about the future. I'm not shocked when it comes to hermit mode. And of course, ending up a tough cycle means you are like, okay, what's my next step? And again, the hermit doesn't see too far into the future, but it is something that you're thinking about. Look at both of them kind of you're looking at the past, kind of thinking, where am I going to go? Here I am. I've gone through this, but it's time to move forward now and let this whole, whatever the situation was for you, let this wrap up so it's time to move on. In the future here, we've got the Eight of Wands. So things are happening rather quickly. And this could be that you kind of come out of this hermit mode. Maybe you stay in this for a part of your week. But after you do, you're thinking about the future, and things kind of make some quick moves about it. It might be that you just know exactly what you want, and you go ahead and start making the right, choices, phone calls, doing things that kind of things that change your outlook and change your energy so that you can move into the future, in a more positive way, and just kind of take that next step. So, but it doesn't look like it's going to be hard for you to do that. It's going to be pretty quick, and things are going to happen and kind of rapid succession there. In your advice position is the Justice card. So, your advice is to seek the truth, and that's how you move forward. And again, that could be the reason, therefore, that hermiting mode is to really look at the truth of the last cycle that you were in. Whatever that situation was, let the smoke clear a little bit so that those truths can come out at you. And if it takes something like journaling, writing things down to kind of, just have some clarity, but that's your advice, is to really just see the truth of that situation. There might be something that the devil down here is not wanting you to see. The devil might be putting things into your head, that things that are false, they're not the truth. So again, let the dust settle on that a little bit and make sure that you can see clearly, what that truth is, so that you can learn and move forward and into your future in a better situation. What is beyond your control this week is, yeah, this is exactly that. This is looking back, with the Nine of Wands. This is like our wounded warrior card, and this is looking back over the past and kind of having those evaluations. Hey, I don't want to do that again. Here's the truth. Here's how this thing went down, and here's how I'd like to move forward. And maybe there's some things that you want to avoid, and some things that you would do the same way. So that's just taking that time to do that sort of evaluation. What is your secret desire, or what you're trying to avoid, is the Knight of Swords. I had this card in the same position with another reading. Let's see, I can't remember It was maybe Cancer, Libra. It was a few readings back. So this is an interesting card for this position because I see this as, is it your secret desire to speak up and say the thing and say it? I mean, look at the horse with this card. This card just, you know, this is a card of messaging and it's a card of intellect. So, and I see it as a messaging only because of the position and how this horse is moving, right? So, it is it your secret desire to say something that needs to be said, and kind of sharply, because this is a sword, you know, that might be a little bit cutting, or are you trying to avoid saying something maybe that does need to be said, or you're just trying to avoid having that sort of messaging? So that's going to be your big question this week is, are you trying to avoid that, or is that really what you're looking for? In your outcome position here, we've got the Knight of Cups. So look at the difference here between these two knights. We've got this one, this Knight of Swords is coming in with, you know, those biting words and that sword that's going to just cut through all the air as the messaging goes through. And then you end up in this Knight of Cups situation. And again, that's a choice. That doesn't have to happen. You know, maybe you don't say the thing. Maybe you keep your mouth shut. That's going to be up to you. You need to decide how to do that. But you end up the end of your week and with a much calmer horse and a much calmer you in a very emotionally balanced, very mellow situation. So I think you get through this. Your big question this week is this Knight of Swords there. Do you speak up? Do you say the thing? Maybe it needs to be said, maybe it doesn't. And that's just your big question. You know, when you get to the truth here, after when you're doing this evaluation and this hermiting, you're going to know the answer to that question of whether you need to speak up or whether you need to just keep your mouth shut on this one. What is being hidden from you this week is the Five of Wands. So there's no arguments, there's no debate about things this week. It looks like that's kind of in the past. That's maybe what has spurred some of this on. You know, maybe this devil has, you know, brought on some sort of arguments, things that were going in, you know, maybe with this collaboration, it kind of, you know, again, muddied the waters just a little bit. So your big question is to ask yourself, does this thing need to be said or does it not need to be said? Do I need to just keep my mouth closed on this one this time around? But whatever your decision, you're going to feel like you made the right decision. And that's totally up to you. And some of you may need to speak up and some of you may not. It's going to be different for different people. But you're at the end of this cycle and you're kind of in this evaluation mode. So yeah, just do that this week. That's really all you can do. If your final messages here from the Soul Oracle deck is face your adversary. So I'm going to go back to that Knight of Swords. Maybe you do need, some of you are going to need to face someone and say the thing. It does need to be said. Again, for some of you, maybe not. Let's pull one more card here. Build on solid ground. So, you know, and I feel like that kind of refers to your thinking on the future. And, you know, you're going to learn things. We all go through these cycles. This could have been something, you know, that seems kind of minor, and those things teach us. They're just the building blocks of life. We go through these things and we learn and we do better each week, right? Each week, each month, each cycle. So anyway, that's where we are. Build on solid ground. Take what you've learned, you know, think about it with this hermit, and then go ahead and start off again. You know, you're just going to keep going. And we're all trying to get to a place where we're kind of perfecting who we are as people, you know, how we interact with the world and how we manage things. So, Scorpio, I wish you the best of luck with this situation. You know, tarot is a template. This could be different for different Scorpios. Some of this may be a work situation. For some of you, this may be a relationship situation. You know, for some, it could be some family situation. But you know, whatever the template is laid over for you, I do wish you the best of luck with that. If you're comfortable sharing, drop me a message down below and let me know, you know, who are your adversaries? What is something that you did have to face this week? Did you speak up or did you not speak up? You know, let me know that you're at the end of this tough cycle and maybe what that entailed for you. And if you have any questions, of course, drop me a comment. I'd be happy to answer your questions. I do post readings every week, so come back next week. We'll see if this energy continues or if there's something completely new here for you. Also, I will say again, if you like my reading style, please hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps me, but most importantly, it'll help you find me next week. So, Scorpio, thanks so much for being here with me today, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.